Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss the next chapter of geography, that is minerals and power resources. Basically, see what are minerals. In your book there are some of the cases which are given. First case is about the place near Dhanbad, and uh, girl is saying, and she was amazed to see the large areas, why they were black and why they were dirty and dusty, just because the coal mines that are there nearby. What is going on in this particular image? They are carrying the mineral coal, one of the person replied, and his name is Sukant. So basically, what are minerals, right? See, minerals are the naturally occurring substances and that are have a definite chemical composition, and with the help of physical and chemical processes we have extracted, right? So what are minerals? Minerals are the naturally occurring substances which are extracted from the earth, right? And now if we if you have seen and if you have heard the ores, so what are ores? Ores is basically a rock from which a particular mineral can be profitably extracted, is called ore. Like I can give you one example, like bauxite is there. So bauxite is one of the ore of aluminium, right? Next topic of this particular chapter is the types of minerals. So basically we have the metallic minerals and the non-metallic minerals. Metallic minerals are again classified into two parts, ferrous and non-ferrous minerals. So what are metallic minerals? See, metallic minerals are the minerals which are having the metals which are shiny, and basically metallic minerals are containing the metal in the raw form. Metals are hard substances, you all know, which conduct heat and electricity, and they have the characteristics like lustrous and shiny, right? For example, iron ore, bauxite, manganese ore, these are some of the examples of metallic mineral. Then next is non-metallic. Non-metallic means the minerals which do not contain any metal. Limestone, mica, gypsum are the examples of some of the non-metallic minerals, right? For example, you can take the example of coal, petroleum. These are some of the non-metallic minerals. Now again, the metallic minerals can be further classified into two parts. First is ferrous and another is non-ferrous. So ferrous minerals includes iron ore and manganese. Why? Because ferrous minerals are the metallic minerals which mainly contains iron, and non-ferrous are the minerals which do not contain any metal. For example, lead, copper and gold. And also, like, steel is widely used in the construction and manufacturing industries. Next, we have the detailed explanation of non-metallic minerals which do not contain metal, as I told you just now. They are generally found in the sedimentary rocks. You might have done in your sixth standard that we have the three types of rocks: igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. So, non-metallic minerals are they do not contain any metal substances, and they lack in malleability, ductility, and these minerals also breaks down easily. Some of the examples are coal, salt, potash, sulfur and nitrate. Then we have the extraction. The very important aspect is how do we extract and what are the methods of extracting the minerals, right? So basically we have the these are the methods of extraction. First is mining, then we have drilling, then quarrying. Mining also divided into two parts: open cast mining and shaft mining. So basically what is mining and what is open cast mining? See, mining is something which by which we can extract the material below the earth's surface. So mining is a process of extracting the buried material below the earth's surface. Then we have the quarrying. Quarrying is refers to the extracting material directly from the surface. And basically, see, mining and in quarrying, water is used and get polluted in the various range of activities, right? Next we have is drilling. So drilling is also one of the method of extracting minerals, And drilling is a cutting down process that uses a drill to cut a hole on the surface. And a drill bit is usually a rotary cutting tool, often multi-point. These are particularly used for horizontal drilling and that are known as drifter drills, right? Then we have the open cast mining. Open cast mining are the minerals that, or it is a type of mining in which minerals lie at the shallow depth are extracted. That means deep inside we have the mineral and we are extracting out of that, right? Basically this mining involves the removal of ore from the seams relatively near the surface by the means of open pit, and these mines often occupy a large area of land for excavation of the ore and disposal of the overburden. Then we have shaft mining. Shaft mining is the mining process in which minerals that lie deep inside the earth are extracted by digging, ideal for iron and coal basically. So shaft mining is excavating a vertical tunnel from the top down where there is initially no access to the bottom, right? So shaft mining is basically a form in which underground mining is done where shafts are pushed vertically from top to bottom to excavate the ores for extraction, right? It is also called as shaft sinking, and it is best suited for the concentrated minerals like iron and coal, which can be easily found at the depth of the earth's surface. Then we have the drilling. Drilling is also one of the method of extraction of minerals wherein deep wells are bored to take them out. This is called drilling. Deep wells are bored, and this whole process is known as drilling. Basically a drill bit is used, a rotary cutting tool is used for horizontal extraction. Then we have quarrying. Quarrying is also one of the method of extracting the minerals. Minerals that lie near the surface are simply dug out by the process of quarrying. It is also called as open pit mining or strip mining. Quarry is a kind of open pit mine from which rocks and minerals are extracted. So basically it is a process of removing rock and sand. Then we have see, these are some of the images. You can see drilling is there, open shaft is there, and open cast mining is there. So these are the images of different types of mining. Then see, in India, as you know that there are different places in which the minerals are found, but it is unevenly distributed. Like if I say Jharkhand and Odisha, right? So these are two main states in which major minerals are found. And you can take the example of Rajasthan also, right? In Rajasthan also we can easily found some of the minerals. So here is the distribution of minerals, like in the world. It is mentioned in the world, like in Asia, manganese, bauxite, nickel, zinc and copper deposits. Then in Africa, gold, platinum. In Australia, bauxite. Europe, iron ore, manganese, nickel, silver. In North America, iron ore, silver, copper, gold and uranium. Then in South America and Antarctica also. So there are some places, there are some countries where some few minerals are mainly found. Now the next topic is the uses of minerals in the world. So basically minerals are used in various activities. So we will do one by one. First is iron. So where iron is used, as you all know, iron is used to manufacture steel, which is also used in making machines, instruments and tools. Then mica is used in electrical and electronic industries. It is a bad conductor of heat and electricity. It is used in motor, bulb, lubricant and paints. Then we have the copper. So as you all know, copper is used in almost everything from coins to pipes. Also it is used in wiring and motors. Just because it conducts both heat and electricity very well, it can be drawn into wires. And it is also used in construction, like in roofing and plumbing and in industrial machineries. Then we have silicon. Silicon is used in almost everything from the coins to the pipes. Silicon is used in computer industries and it is obtained from quartz. Then we have aluminium. Aluminium is used in automobiles, airplanes, bottling industry, building, and in kitchen cookware. Bauxite is the ore of aluminium and in making aeroplanes and automobiles. These are some of the things made up of iron, mica, and aluminum sheets. I just wanted to tell you here one more important aspect of mica. See, mica are the thin sheets, right? As you can see in the first picture. Then in the second, you can see the various things are there which are made up of aluminium. Then below also aluminium utensils are there. Then the next important topic is the conservation of minerals. So see, minerals are also the important sources which we need to conserve, and their demand are also increasing day by day. So to meet the needs of the present as well as future generations, we need to conserve the minerals by reducing their consumption, by avoiding their wastage in production and distribution, by recycling, and by using the better mining methods. We can conserve the minerals, right? So this is also one of the image which I have put in: recycle, reuse, and reduce. Then the next topic of this chapter is power resources. So see, energy is required in various economic activities in like agriculture, industry, transport, defense, commercial, and domestic purposes. So power resources are the sources of energy which is available to us, which is needed for driving machineries in industries, fuel in the transport sector, which provides light and heat for domestic and the industrial uses, right? These resources are mainly meant by those which provide us with power and energy. These are basically of two types: conventional and non-conventional. Conventional sources of energy are also known as non-renewable. That means non-renewable means that cannot be renewed, right? Because they have already taken so many years, millions of years to form, like coal and petroleum, right? So fossil fuels, firewood. So these are some of the examples of conventional sources of energy. Next is petroleum. Petroleum is another important energy resource of India after coal. It can be transported by pipeline. See, pipeline transport is one of the newest innovation by which we can transport the natural gas and the uh, liquids from one place to another. It provides fuel for heat and light. It provides raw material for a number of manufacturing industries. It is mainly found in fault traps between porous and non-porous rocks. And you can take the example of Assam, where oldest oil refinery is there in Digboi. Then we have firewood. Firewood is widely used for cooking and heating. 50% of energy is used by villagers comes from firewood. Remaining plants and animals which were buried under the earth for millions of years got converted by the heat and pressure into fossil fuels. Fossil fuels such as, coal, petroleum, and natural gas. These are main sources of conventional energy, right? Then we have the fossil fuels. Fossil fuel is a fuel formed by the decomposition of buried dead organisms. These are the remains, basically, under the pressure and heat in the earth crust. Next is fossil fuels are made from decomposing plants and animals. See, fossil fuels are the remains of plants and animals, right? These fuels are found in the earth crust and contains carbon and hydrogen, which can be burned for energy. And fossil fuels such as coal, petrol, and natural gas. These are the main sources of conventional energy. Then we have the natural gas. Natural gas is found with petroleum deposits and is released when crude oil is brought to the surface. It can be used as a domestic as well as the industrial fuel. Russia, Norway, UK, and Netherlands are the major producers of natural gas. In India also, Jaisalmer, Krishna, Godavari Delta, Tripura, and some areas offshore in Mumbai have natural gas resources. So basically, see, these natural resources are the are caused for concerned sharp increase in our consumption of fossil fuels, which leads to the depletion at an alarming rate, right? Then we have the hydel power. See, hydel it's basically the rainwater or the river water which is stored in dams and is made to fall from heights. The falling water flows through pipes inside the dam over turbine blades placed at the bottom of the dam. So basically this is used in order to produce the electricity, hydroelectricity. Water is discharged after the generation of electricity and later on it is used for irrigation. 1/4 of the world's electricity is produced by hydel power. Then we have the non-conventional. First we have discussed conventional, in which we have discussed coal, petroleum and natural gas. Now we are discussing the non-conventional sources of energy. Non-conventional means renewable resources. That means we can renew, we can replenish, we can reproduce again and again. For example, solar energy, wind energy, biogas, tidal energy, geothermal energy, nuclear energy. First is nuclear energy. So nuclear energy is the energy which is obtained from the energy which is stored in the nuclei of atom of naturally occurring radioactive elements like uranium, thorium, and undergo nuclear fission in the nuclear reactors and emit power. So if we talk about the world, then in world we will find that in USA and Europe, these two countries are the greatest producers of nuclear power, and largest deposits of uranium is found in Rajasthan, India. Then thorium, which is found in Kerala mainly, and there are few nuclear power stations which are located in India, like in Kalpakkam, Tamil Nadu, Tarapur, Maharashtra, Rana Pratap Sagar near Kota in Rajasthan, etc. Then we have the solar energy. So solar energy is also one of the type of energy generated by the sun, which can be harnessed directly or indirectly for human use. And you can see nowadays people are installing the solar panels on the roof of their houses just to have the just for the production of electricity, right? Also, see, solar energy is trapping from the sun, which is used in solar cells to produce the electricity. So the main aim of solar energy is to produce the electricity. Solar energy is basically used in solar heaters, solar cookers, solar dryers, and they are being used for community lighting and traffic signals. Next we have is the wind energy. Wind energy is the use of wind to provide mechanical power through wind turbines to turn electric generators for electric power. It is the most competitive energy resource. Then next we have is the biogas. Biogas is the mixture of gases produced by the breakdown of organic matter in the absence of oxygen, primarily consisting of methane and carbon dioxide. See, it can be produced from the raw materials such as agricultural waste, manure, municipal waste, plant material, sewage, green waste, or food waste. See, organic waste such as dead plants and animals, animal dung, kitchen waste, these wastes can be converted into a gaseous fuel that is known as biogas. Organic waste is decomposed by bacteria in biogas digesters to emit biogas, which is essentially a mixture of methane and carbon dioxide. It is mainly used for cooking and lighting and producing the huge amount of organic manure each year. See, energy is everywhere, you know that. But we can see that harnessing this energy is both difficult as well as costly. Each one of us can make a difference by not wasting the energy. Energy saved is energy generated, right? Next is tidal energy. Tidal energy is the energy which is generated from tides, and it can be harnessed by building dams at narrow openings of the sea. During high tides, the energy of the tides is used to turn the turbine installed in the dam to produce electricity. So, or also, I just wanted to tell you the important fact. It is mentioned in your book also. The first tidal energy station was built in France, right? Next is geothermal energy. Geothermal energy is the heat energy which is obtained from the earth. The temperature in the interior of the earth rises steadily as we go deeper, right? Sometimes this heat energy may surface itself in the form of hot springs. This heat energy can be used to generate power. The temperature in the interior of the earth rises steadily. Sometimes this heat energy may surface itself in the form of hot springs, and basically this energy is also used to generate power. Right? And examples are USA has the world largest geothermal power plant, followed by New Zealand, Philippines, and Central America. In India also we have in Manikaran in Himachal Pradesh and Puga Valley in Ladakh. So thank you very much. I hope it is clear to you all. If you have any doubts, so you can uh, message in the comment section. Please like, share, and subscribe my YouTube channel. Thank you. Bye bye.